Okay, good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us for today's event, Role of Communication in Effective Team Building. So, before we begin, my name is Aaron Scott Timms, a PR executive at Simply Body Talk. I'll be going over the agenda and what we're going to cover for today. So, first, let's start with the company. We specialize in the niche segment of nonverbal communication, and over the years, I've created a name in the international space. Our clients include medium and senior level managers from well known international organizations, and we have a range of services from corporate coaching programs, open format events across the world, online courses, train to trainer modules, and so on. So, let's move to the agenda of this event. Okay, we're going to start off with a power pack panel discussion with leading experts, and we're going to talk about and we're going to have a very insightful conversation about the role of communication in effective team building with their leading insights. After which, we'll have a quiz. Now, pay attention to this because you actually have a chance to win prizes in this event. That's right. So you better have your quiz hats on because you'll get really rewarding and really good prizes. We've set up really a good bundle of goodies for you. Then we have something called using body language, which is a power pack session where we get to discuss the various tips, tricks, and techniques that you can use by using body language in your professional environment. So you're definitely going to benefit from that. And then we're going to have a case study where one of our body language experts will do a live case study with you. So we're going to analyze a couple of videos, and on the spot, we'll give you insights about various situations. That's going to be really interesting. And then, of course, we're going to end it all with another power pack quiz, where again you get a chance to win prizes. So don't worry if you don't win it in the first one; you're definitely going to win some prizes in the second one. And now let me introduce our industry experts. Keith, first, we have Keena Jobin Putra. She is the head of SMB partnerships for Google Cloud in the JPAC region. She's currently living in Singapore, and she has over 17 years of experience with cloud experience in cloud technology. She has also worked for AWS and Microsoft in senior leadership roles across SI partners, telco, distribution in APAC and Japanese markets. Then we have the very charismatic Vivek Anand. He is the Deputy Commissioner at Indian Revenue Service, better known as the IRS, and he's currently working on building a platform, building an Indo-German platform industry 4.0 collaboration. He is an ex-awardee of the prestigious Finance Minister's Gold Medal for Service Excellence. And before joining the IRS, Mr. Anand was a convener for Hyderabad Entrepreneurs Society, where he built a thriving community for entrepreneurs, investors, researchers, and incubators. And last but definitely not least, we have Hitesh Ahuja, founder and CEO of Yumlane Cloud Kitchen startup. So he focused on the F&B segment through his partnerships at Marush, and then he founded Khan, a brick and mortar food venture. In 2016, Mr. Hitesh founded Yumlane, which is an exciting cloud kitchen startup encompassing the kitchen infrastructure, supply chain, food branding platform, and so on. It received a seed funding in the same year from Binny Bansal of Flipkart, and last year too, the company received fresh funding and is rapidly expanding. And then, of course, we have our founder and CEO, Ms. Khyati Bhatt, as the moderator for today's panel session. She has received international recognition and awards for her excellence in business and definitely in her niche segment, which is non-verbal communication. So without further ado, let's begin with our event. I hope you have an amazing time.
Okay, so The panelists, if you can switch your video on so that we can all have this discussion later. The panelists, are we all there? Hitesh? Yes. Okay. So let's begin. What we are going to be doing is I'll ask you a few questions and we will be discussing about the role that communication plays when it comes to team building. So you are all experts, you have a lot of different kind of experience, somebody from the corporate background, somebody from the government background, somebody from the startup background, all very good friends, and I am thrilled to be moderating this. So let's just start. Okay, Kena, let's start with you. uh, why don't you share, because you've worked in a lot of different kind of companies, so what's been your experience in team building and what do you think is the role that communication plays?
Hi everyone, good evening from Singapore. So Kathy, thank you for the question. I think team building plays a very, very important role in bringing the teams together. And one of the things that we in Google do during COVID is a whole bunch of host of virtual activities, starting from trivia quizzes to red carpet gala event, fun quizzes. We've done rapid fire events, we've done virtual picnics, we've done hat day at work, we have done bring your pets at work. Very simply, it means is every Friday we would have one theme. Everybody comes prepared. People come look forward to what are the activities we are doing, and we kind of keep it fun, light, and keep the learning there. So it could be anything from learning about each other's personal lives, or it could be about work, or it could be about just recognition in the team on a gala event kind of a theme. It's kind of brought the teams together in a way that it would not have in a virtual world where we were just remotely talking to each other. And teams look forward every Friday to this session. So when we said we wouldn't want to do it one Friday, the teams were like, no, let's do something fun. Some Fridays it's just getting together and talking about something which is purely non-work. So team building has played a very important role on keeping everyone's morale positive and focused during the work week, during these uncertain times when everyone's just working from home and not really seeing people apart from their immediate family. And it plays a very crucial role in just keeping everyone happy and looking forward to the Friday team building exercise.
Okay, great. So I'm sure that even in days before lockdown, you must have done a lot of other activities as well, which helps to somewhere the whole idea being how do you use communication as a tool to keep the teams binded together. So what about times when we were not in this lockdown, because I'm sure this lockdown is going to end soon, hopefully this year, and we'll have offices back. So we'd like to learn from your experience of how do you work in teams, different cultures, and what does communication, how does communication play a role there?
So it's okay. So I have a team across 6 countries, and it's different culture, people from different background. Not everybody speaks English. So one of the things we do is every time we look for activities, we try to find a common ground. For example, if we do a joint workout on Friday afternoon, we ask the team what they are comfortable with. It could be a high intensity workout, it could be a yoga, and we would kind of keep it flexible and give everybody enough time to prepare for it, come back and do it. And so, in a non ideal world, if teams are in the same location, there'll be a lot of fun activities we would plan when we do offsites in a single location. But even in a non single location, we make sure that it kind of is bringing the teams together and everyone's comfortable doing that activity, and it's not something that's focused only on selected set of people. So that's important to kind of make sure that everyone's comfortable with whatever activities are being planned.
Okay, great. Vivek, we come to you. You worked in an environment where, from our discussion, I know this that different generations of government officials, some who are not so tech savvy, then comes another generation, then comes people like you who come from a technology background, and so how do you keep ensure that the team stays focused on that one goal that they have, which is to build a good interface of the government to the people they are communicating with?
Thank you for the question, Swati, and hello to everybody. Uh, I think everybody would agree if any of us says that communication is very, very important for team building. And I would not spend time on explaining why, because I think we all know why. But what I would talk about is how important is to keep thinking about communication. So, for example, if you talk about a government setup, as you mentioned, Kathy, we have people of different ages, people of different backgrounds, education-wise, experience-wise, and we all come together. And if you talk about the civil services, we are inducted at a younger age, and we are inducted at leadership positions, which means we are leading teams where there are people who have, let's say, 20, 25, sometimes 30 years experience, and definitely they know much more than what we do. So what would leading mean in such a scenario, and what would it mean to build a team through communication? So I think first and most important is to have one story always. So if everybody is on the same page of why we are sitting in that office, then it makes sense. So for example, before coming to Germany, I was in GST in Mumbai. And when it comes to GST, it's a new tax reform the government did a few years ago. So the whole structure of the tax department has changed because of that. Tax is at one time important for nation building. Tax involves enforcement, but tax also involves trade facilitation. So how do the purpose of being one single story which can connect everybody by giving them a single focus? It won't be an effective team, and for that you need effective communication. So I used to take it upon me to make sure that we have regular communication sessions. What I mean by that is I would schedule one-to-one meetings with all members of my team. Of course, not in a single day, but throughout a period of time. We would sit down for a cup of tea. We would talk about the work that we are doing, why we are doing something, why we are focusing on something. Also, getting the whole team together once in a while to make sure that people know that one-to-one doesn't mean a special focus for one person, but that means one single story for the whole team. So one thing which I would like to underline here before we move on is to have a clear and concise story around why the team exists. And everybody should be part of the same story. And to make sure that this happens, you have to have communication, make time for communication, one-to-one, in groups. So that's my starting thought.
Okay, great. So what basically I take away from this answer is that having a single story, no matter what be the age and generation from which your team members belong, that is very important so that everybody knows what they are working towards. Great insights. Hitesh, coming to you. So I remember we met some time back and you are still, in those discovery phases, working on one of your ventures and looking for growing that, and it's skyrocketed like anything in the last few years. So I'm sure that, right from recruiting the right people to managing a small team to rapidly growing team, you have had a lot of experience, and you must have had a different experience when you were a part of the finance background where you're working with a investment fund, right? So how are these two different, and what are the kind of things you do personally at this point to ensure that the team stays well connected?
Yeah, great question, Kathy, and hello everybody, and congrats for setting this up. It's come at a very, very appropriate time where communication is the only holding ground for all of us, and be it digital or be it cellular. So with respect to the time I spent in working in private equity until 2013, where the communication was very seamless. The team sizes were less than a dozen. Our dependencies on external agencies for making investment decisions in A company or B company or C company was always inbound versus outbound, because we were making an investment case, so we were always receiving data, we were always filtering data, we were always analyzing it, and then taking it to our committee. So the communication there was one way, and also very heavy in many ways. So our role there was to synthesize and filter. Fast forward to where I am today, in a cloud kitchen setup, which is running a digital restaurant, if you will, and you basically reliant on absolutely the internet world to communicate simple things like if the product is seamlessly moving across the digital services, right from our factories to the marketplaces or platforms we are in, and then how the coordination is going. So it's a very different environment from there to here, which also meant I as a leader have to be very agile. It also meant you will not work with the same bunch you worked in your job. You're working with a very different energy levels. You're working with very different set of people, sometimes half your age. Not that I'm too old, but these guys are the startup ecosystem is the new India, if you will. This is the hot job to have. So the team building and the communication is essentially the bedrock. And one of the simple things we follow, if there are that we obviously do daily stand-ups, which is a very effective way of going about any task, be it a micro task or a task which needs attention. So sometimes the daily stand-ups are for even 30 minutes or 20 minutes. And I recommend you do that, because
so stand-ups would mean the meetings that you do, or is it like the offline events that Kena was referring to?
No, meetings is absolutely breaking down the tasks in micro steps, and then picking up either 2 members or max 3 members to sort of attack those tasks,
Okay.
because these are remote. These are the hacks for remote working. Gone are the days where you could just walk to somebody and tell him or her that what's the update here. Now the approach on communication is totally 360-degree different. So the daily stand-ups would help in sort of aligning everybody. To answer your larger question as to how the team building happens, I think there is really no shortcut to communication. And as a leader, all of us here would agree that it's cool to be over communicating, but it's a complete no to under communicate. And sometimes it may sound repetitive to a few people around you, but at the larger level, to align everybody in current times, which means also using very smart hacks on WhatsApp. I would also not disregard how effective WhatsApp communication is, because you can probably achieve more than voice if you are able to create a very effective group system going on WhatsApp. So these are some hacks for effective team building, which is what I would say.
Okay, since you brought up voice and WhatsApp, I'll come to this. I had, I think with Vivek, we had some discussion long time back when we were doing a session with them about how WhatsApp works sometimes it doesn't work. So this is a question for anybody, whoever wants to answer out of the 3 of you. What are the kind of, preferences you give to the mode of communication when it comes to the urgency of what needs to be told versus the kind of confirmations you need from the team versus the kind of information you need or feedback you need from your team? So how do you choose whether you want it like a video call, you want it like an actual meeting, you want it like a phone call, an email? How does it work for you?
If I may start this off, I believe the mode of communication depends on the purpose of that particular piece of communication. So to give a small example, I have a habit, whenever there's a meeting, I make sure that at the end of the meeting, I make a summary of the key follow-up actions that are required, or the key summary of decisions taken. And this, I try to put this in written, could be a mail, could be in government, we also have office memos, etc. We use that. I think this is very important. This gives clarity of message. Whereas when I'm talking to somebody one-on-one, many times I also use non-verbal communication. Sometimes the way you look at them or the inflection in your voice, that's good enough to communicate a particular message that you want to communicate. So that's what I would say, it depends on what you're trying to communicate. Where you need clarity, then you need something hard, like something written perhaps. Where you need to give a cue, sometimes non-verbal communication is good enough to send a subtle message. Perhaps other panelists can share their views as well.
Hitesh, anything you would like to add? Like, how do you decide whether you want a team meeting or you want to just do a quick call, or even like, do you need a group to be present in any kind of communication that is happening, or you just need to do one-on-one with a team member? How do you take that call?
Sure. I'll just go a quick one. I think the communication is about the receiver, not the giver.
Okay.
It's a very clear, it's a very important distinction to draw. That and you also have to assess how is the receiver comfortable in receiving that information. So if I'm solving for a very, I'll give you an example. If I'm solving a crude example, if I'm solving for a truck which needs to reach the factory for picking up my products, I can't do a voice, I can't do a video call. Right. It's a phone call, right? But if I'm solving for, and also then if I'm solving for a very deep analytical piece of work, it needs to be a Gmeet or a Zoom, right? So you basically have to also filter how the receiver is comfortable with technology. And that also is a very important driver to comfort the receiver of that communication, and also then take the best out of them. Because the idea is to, in current remote times, the idea is to, the idea is to perform at the same levels of productivity by being around virtually or speaking virtually. That's so the idea is to work with the receiver's mindset. Is how I look at it personally. And yes, I think another insight, and maybe you know this better. I generally feel Gen Z and the younger millennials prefer data over voice, right? And that could just be my insight. So while it's not something which is very natural to us, the older millennials, but you have to sort of tune yourself to that. And for us, something may be super urgent, and we may want to just pick up the phone and say, "Hey, what's happening?" Whereas for a younger millennial, it is equally urgent, but the person will just decide to reply on a WhatsApp. So you have to sort of keep these softer aspects in mind. These were my two inputs.
I'm sure you must also be having some processes in mind, right? That if it's this kind of communication, let's all try and prefer this mode of, speaking with each other. Because we do work with a lot of people, and what we realize is it looks very simple, but, a lot of people don't give it that thought that, this is not the right way in communicating. So great insights. Okay, just one thing for people who are listening in, if you have any questions for any of the panel members, please feel free to put it in the chat window. We will be taking up some questions after the discussion is done. Okay, coming to, I think I could have asked this a little previously, but let me just ask it now for all three of you, whoever wishes to answer. when we talk about team building, what is that one thing that is absolutely important for you as a team manager or as a team leader? It is that absolute one thing that is most important for you from whatever years of experience that you have. Who wants to go?
Kena's turn.
Yes, Tina. So
Okay.
I'm sure you must also be having some issues within the team, right? Somebody doesn't understand what's happening, or somebody else doesn't understand what's happening. So, I mean, from whatever, like different companies that you worked with, what is that one thing that is absolutely important when you have to keep your team built together? Is it offline activities? Is it putting in place processes? Is it understanding what mode to use for communication? Is it that you want to not firefight at the right time? What is it for you?
So thanks, Kathy, for this question. Actually, what we do is we actually have a communication method workshop that we internally do with our team.
Okay.
We also do it with our other managers and other leadership team, because some people prefer email, some people prefer chat, some people pick up the phone and call, some people just like, if I'm in a meeting and if I get a call, I will not answer it, but if you ping me on a chat, I might. So what we do is we do these exercise regularly to kind of understand and agree on what does everyone communicate and prefer to communicate. And once we know the team's communication style, it's easier for us to tweak our style. It's important as a leader that you bring the teams together. Some people don't understand that much English, so they might be it's easier for them to read an email versus a ping or a chat or a conversation. So there are three things we follow. One is we do this exercise and we kind of tweak our style to communicate depending on the audience and what they prefer. Like Hitesh mentioned, Gen Z actually prefers chat, so that's also very popular. The other thing is, if it's a formal thing, like we're launching a new program or an activity, there is definitely a formal email that goes through in, because that documents the process, what needs to be done, etc. Then we talk about it in our team meeting and we use Google Docs. So that goes on a short bullet point and we assign tasks that, guys, this is the deadline for this week, or this needs to be done, or this needs to be rolled out. So that's a quick bullet point on a team doc, and everybody is on that doc real time. We can assign tasks so people are taking actions as we go in that team meeting. And then if there are any deadlines coming through, a quick team chat on the group chat, we just ping in saying this was a due Friday evening, please let's finish it before we call it a week. So there's three forms of communication that goes, so just to make sure that nobody really misses out whatever form of communication you're doing. So Kathy, to answer your question, I think communication, just making sure everyone's across what needs to be done, what is priority, and sometimes there's so many balls up in the air, just like reprioritizing the tasks that I know there are 10 things going on, but let's get these 2 things done for this week, if at all that's a priority, because at the end of the day, we'll have to drop some balls to prioritize the other things that's important. And sometimes we firefight. So, I mean, it's all part of reality for everyone.
So what I'm getting is the key insight from what you shared is, no matter what be the situation or the strategy that you want to implement it, communication is important, right? So there are a lot of us who think that communicating just means when you're speaking to somebody, but that's not it, right? There's so much more to communication than just one person speaking to another. So I hope the audience understands that it's not just about that one thing that you're doing to speak to somebody else. There's a lot more to do with communication. So we come to the next question. We talked about the ways in which you speak or you write. What about body language? Because that's our niche and that's something we work on. So I'll be very interested to know, how do you use body language either to put across your points very effectively to your team, tweak your style as required, any examples or incidents that any of you have to share? And also, when it comes to understanding your team members, are they in the mood to go ahead with what you're doing? Are they accepting what you're saying? Is there friction that you see? What are the different insights that you have? So what role does body language play when it comes to team building? Hitesh, let's start with you.
Yeah. So I think great question again. I think we all know the rule of. I think I'm probably quoting Dr. Albert. where we talk about 55% body language, and to just round up numbers, 50% body language, 40% tone and voice, and 10% spoken words, right? So it's a 50-40-10 classic rule. Guess what? In the last 1 year, the 50% is out of the window, right? There's just nobody around. We are talking to each other only through tone and voice and spoken words. So yet the messages are not. Messages have to be conveyed with equal intensity, right? So with respect to how one decides to sort of operate in the non 50% world is very crucial, and the way we've been doing it internally is is going back to the same point I made, is stand-ups, daily communication hacks, which we talked about, breaking it in micro tasks, and also with the way times are, the strategies in at least startups are changing by the week. They used to change by the month. Strategies are changing by the week, which is good and bad both, but which also means that as a CEO, you are agile, you are mentally swift about decision making, but then you have to bring the whole team on the same page, and then make them comfortable with equal level of mental agility, which is very challenging because so clearly I think the answer to you is that none of us are qualified modulators. We are all learning on the job how to modulate our tones, and we are also learning how to stress upon a point so that it drives home to the receiver. And I think it's a little it's I would definitely say it's very difficult to operate in a non 50% world with respect to tone and voice alone doing the job, and I think we overstress as all of us on the words we speak, but it's very difficult to even remember what was spoken in the first sentence of this seminar. So it's clearly about the energy you are able to exude, and I think it's a lot more preparation before attacking the problem at hand through communication. So I think Swati, I think Kathy, this is clearly the times where people like you step up and teach us how to go about operating in this environment.
It's difficult actually. With the video call, there are a lot of people who have these questions. In that small frame that I have, how do I understand the person across? So yeah, the thing is relevant. Okay, so we are running out of time. I will have one question which I want to ask all three of you. Okay, and then we'll take up some of the questions that have come in the chat. Okay, so as a experienced team manager, if there is one thing that you would like to share with the audience, because there are a lot of people who are either new managers who would like to learn from your experience, or there are people who are aspiring to get there in their hopefully the next reviews that they have with their bosses, right? So anything, it doesn't have to be communication relevant only. Any one thing that you would like to advise the audience, what would it be? Vivek, let's start with you.
Okay, thanks again, Kathy. If it is just one thing that we have to talk about, I would say that one thing is respect. And this especially holds true for all kinds of teams, especially those teams where there are different kinds of people. I think somebody in the chat was asking about teams from different parts of the world. If they're working together, what do you do then? One person also asked about communication bringing up different viewpoints and conflicts sometimes within the team. Communication can cause conflict. I would not say communication causes conflict, but I would say communication can bring to the surface a conflict which exists already. And that's a good thing. But if you follow the principle of respect, and respect doesn't mean just for older people. Respect means respect for somebody as a human being. Somebody might hold a view which is not the same view as you do, And respect does not mean you accept that view. Respect means you acknowledge that view, and then you put across your point of view in a firm yet humble way. I think that should be the most important thing in communication, and that can help you deal with people from different cultural backgrounds, people of different ages, people who don't agree with your viewpoint. If you approach it with respect, at least there will be open communication. And when there is open communication, the chances of successful team building, successful outcomes is much higher.
Great insight. So my key takeaway from what you discussed is, no matter whether it's cross-cultural or it's team conflicts, giving the right respect to the other person's point of view, that's very important. Kena, coming to you, what do you?
Well, Kathy, for me, it's active listening. Listen more and work from a place of trust. So it's a combination of two, but it works as a single unit. If a team member is coming and talking about something, they're giving their perception and their point of view. Listen more than you talk, and let them give their point of view, and ensure that when you're listening, you're kind of coming from a point of trust. Because if you don't trust your own team members, if you're not able to bring that respect that Vivek spoke about, that would create a lot of conflict internally itself. So if anybody who's looking to become a leader, active listening is definitely a skill that we underestimate a lot.
So active listening, I'm sure a lot of us already know. It's not just putting your ear to listen to what somebody is saying. There are a lot of things you need to keep in mind. So just look up active listening. It's a very key perspective when we are being a good or a great team manager. Hitesh, what about you?
Yeah, great points from Vivek and Kena. With respect to for a new manager starting out in current times, wanting to grow up the corporate ladder or career ladder, if you will, times are very different. So I always stress very heavily upon time management, and to me, time management is a lifelong exercise. By the way, it's less to do with corporate, but it's all the way till 80. And there is a framework around time management which I would like to probably convey, and if that benefits everyone, is largely around breaking it down to important and basically in important and urgent tasks need to sort of get out of the way ASAP, followed by urgent, followed by important, and that's really how teams in remote setting are able to take the best out of each other, and this to me is something which if a young leader adapts early on and sort of creates that culture of great time management and is able to sort of drive outcomes, the surprisingly the turnaround times can sort of increase substantially, which will mean better outcomes for any tasks you've been assigned or any corporate goal you're chasing. So that's really my 2 cents on this.
Okay, so I'm sure time management also includes prioritizing tasks, like you said, right? Which tasks are more important, which are not, and that will tell you how much priority to give to watch how to manage your time in the best possible manner. So we'll take up 1 or 2 questions. Somebody has asked this, that if you have a team member who probably knows that they have a lot of worth or potential, but they are not able to put it on the table, they are not able to deliver, what is it that as a team leader you can do? Anybody can take this up. If you had any member and you actually went about and inspiring them, or using the right communication techniques or some strategy that you used to draw out more potential from somebody who was capable but they were not delivering.
Kathy, I am sorry, but I'll have to leave in a few minutes. Perhaps I can start answering this and then others can take it up. It's a very interesting question, and this happens quite a lot, especially in government settings, because you know how government is. It's a safe job. People don't have the pressure of performance usually on them. So quite often it so happens that somebody who's quite talented, who's quite capable, is not delivering the same output. I think one way, and I'll go back to what I said in the first instance, is to get them to align with the overall one story. So if they believe that their objective is the same objective as the team's objective, they will align more of their effort, more of their energy to that objective. And that could lead to outcomes that are in sync with what you want for the whole team. That communication, trying to get on the same page about why we're doing this and what we're trying to do might help. And as I said before, respect has to be there. You can't just tell somebody that you're not doing well. You have to try to understand why are they not doing well. Is it something in the team structure? Is it something which is wrong with the communication? Or is it a problem of motivation? So you have to play the role of leader as well as mentor there.
Okay, great. Anybody else?
I prefer to prioritize. So I help just break the task down to let's prioritize. You have 10 things on your plate. What are the top 2 things that needs to be done? And then do it as a short-term and a long-term view. So can we get this done this week, or can we get this done this quarter, or can we get this done this year? I will very proactively also try to take something off their plate. When someone's not doing it, that's often because either they're having some personal challenges, and I also, try and understand that from their personal point of view, like, is there something that's happening to them that needs to be done? And I do find other team members and say, guys, we need to help this individual, or I need this task to be done or delegated to someone else. Can someone step up and do it? So it helps someone step up and take up an opportunity from someone else. And also the individual who has a lot on their plate to prioritize what needs to be done. Oftentimes it's a business call you take that only there's so much you can do, and you just help them prioritize what's important for them against the goals that needs to be done. And that really kind of, the moment you take 5 things from their plate, that really kind of, gives the team member a breather, and they will come back and do it, especially if they have done it in the past and they're not doing it for whatever reasons. Sometimes it's just fatigue. So just helping teams prioritize, I think.
That helps. Okay, great. So we are running out of time. We'll end the panel discussion here. I don't want to take up too much of the panelists' time, because I promised I leave them by 6:30. So thank you all. Thank you for sparing the time. It really means a lot to me. You're all very good friends, and I just had to tell you once, and you just came over and helped me out with this. So thank you so much. There are 1 or 2 questions, one asked by Sailesh and one asked by Arnaz, the last 2 questions. We are taking these 2 specific questions today in the event, right? So we'll be telling you exactly how to deal with this as we move on. Once again, panelists Kena, Vivek, Hitesh, thank you all so much. We'll continue with the rest.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, that was a brilliant panel discussion. We thank all of you so much for joining us. That was amazing insights that were shared. And now we'll move on to the quiz. For the quiz, we have none other than our senior marketing manager, Nafisa Kadanawala, to take this further ahead. So Nafisa, you can take this away.
Okay. Thank you so much, Aaron, and hello everyone. This is going to be a very interesting time because we are taking up quiz. Now, when we start climbing the corporate ladder, getting into the managerial roles, we start using different kind of corporate jargons. And this is what we are going to do here. We'll be giving you one jargon at a time, and you have to type down the answer. The one who types the answer correct and really fast will be the winner. There are going to be 5 rounds to it. So all the best. Let's move to the slide. First one is lipstick on the pig. People type your answers really fast so that we can take the discussion ahead. The idiom lipstick on the pig, do you know what does it mean? Can we get some answers? Changes to a product, disguise something. Superficial, okay. So I think out of all the answers which I've got right now, Anshul has given the answer superficial, which is somewhat a little, relatable to what lipstick on a pig is. So basically, when we say lipstick on a pig, it is to make some superficial changes and not to, really change to the core. So thank you, Anshul. You are the winner for the first question. Let me give you some example about this. Now, when we say lipstick on a pig, right? If I have a software which is 20 years old, and someone asked me to just update it, would that update actually make a sense? No, it would not. The only sense that would make is to really change the whole of software, because of course it's 20 years old. So when I say to update it, it is saying put lipstick on the pig. So I hope we are clear with question number 1. Let's go to question number 2. Run it up the flagpole. Wow, the answers were really fast this time. Sneha Narayan is the first one to give the answer. And she's absolutely correct. It is to test a new idea. So when you get a new idea and you want to take it to the manager, it's usually told to the people that run it up the flagpole, get it tested, and just see if the other members are interested, and then you talk to the manager or the people you want to present your idea to. So this is where it comes, run it up the flagpole. Let's move to the next one. Table the conversation. We have answers, have a discussion, document, postponed. Yes, so Abhishek Chaturvedi, yes, your answer is correct. When we say table a conversation, it is basically when we are saying that let's postpone the conversation, or maybe never have that conversation at all. So when does this happen? Usually when we are having a discussion which then changes into a heated argument, or any conversation which is not taking any progress, at that time we use this jargon that let's table the conversation for now. So this can actually mean let's postpone it altogether, or really not have this discussion any further. So yes, this is what it is. Let's move to the next one. Peel the onion. So Shailesh Patel is somewhat more near to the answer rather than Tanvi and Brinda. Go in details, one layer after a time, right? That is what it means. So peel the onion is usually when you are trying to explore a problem, and then you are going layer by layer. Now, for example, there is an HR which senses that there's some problem in it. Then what does that HR actually do? He starts peeling the onion. How? First, he'll talk to the department, what the problem is. Then he'll start talking to the teams of the department, that where the problem is coming from. Then he'll start speaking maybe to the team leaders, and at the last, he'll then speak to the individuals. This is how layer after layer, he's speaking to people, trying to gauge the problem and going into the detail of the problem. So yes, that is what it is. Last one, back of the envelope. Yes, Dipti Vishwa, you are the closest one for this. It's rough calculations. Now, when we say that, we'll just do it in the back of the envelope, it's when you have a rough calculation in your mind, or you have a rough idea in your mind, and you're just searching for a scrap of paper. That scrap of paper could be an envelope, and you just jot down your calculations there, your estimate calculations. They are not going to be the complicated ones. That is what is called back of the envelope. Thank you so much for participating. Now we come up to the most interesting part of this. Can we move to the next slide, please? It is the prize. The prize for this is our newly launched body language course, which is Body Language for Workplace Communication. Now, this course is going to be very interesting. So first of all, congratulations to all the 5 winners. Now, why is this course interesting is what I'm going to tell you right now. First, of course, it is going to help you improve your own body language. Second, it is, communication in workplace, correct? So it will help you build good relations. Once you start building good relations with people, you tend to get noticed by more and more people. And once you start getting noticed, of course, you should get ready for your promotion. So why take up this course? Of course, for all these reasons. Now, some interesting part for this course are its features. Now, body language is not something which is theoretical, right? It has to be something which has to be explained via videos and photos. So yes, this course is going to comprise of lot of video lessons and photos. Second, there are going to be different assignments which can be in the form of case studies. Now, the uniqueness of this assignment and what makes the course different from others is when you write down the case study, right? One of the body language experts from the team will give you personal inputs that what is right and what is wrong about this case study. So you are really going to get some personal inputs when you put this case study. Once you enroll for this course, you are going to have lifetime access to it. So once you enroll, you can see it anywhere, anytime. And because you have a lifetime access, you can learn it at your own pace. It is not going to be like, oh my God, start it and now end it. No, it's not going to be like that. You can just learn from it whenever, however, and how many times you want. And the body language which we have explained, right, in the whole course, it's universal. So you go to any geographical area, any part of the world, and you use that kind of body language for showing confidence or, for getting the meeting, etc. It is going to help you out because it is universal. And the last, which is community, is very interesting because once you become the subscriber or enroll for our course, you get to speak to other team members, you get to speak to other subscribers. Now, how will this help you? Of course, it is going to help you in networking, which right now is very, very important, correct? And secondly, you can share your case studies. If you have any ideas, if you have any doubts, you can share with the community members and they'll just reply to you. How? Of course, we can take this offline. So once this whole thing ends, right, we'll be sharing our number so you can communicate with us one-on-one. And in the whole duration, if you have any more doubts about the course, etc., you can just drop the message. Our body language experts are all here. They'll take it up and we'll let you know the doubts. Now, I guess it's time to invite our body language expert and my time to take a leave. So, Bhavna Suleria, I would invite you to take up this case study. Bye, everyone. Thank you for participating. Have a great time.
Thank you, Nafisa. So, yeah, now we'll be seeing a very interesting case study where you would be actually observing the body language of this particular individual who is a manager. Now, when we are saying that he's the manager, he's trying to communicate with his team. But the trick here is his team is relatively way too older in terms of his experience and age. And the position that he's been put into, he doesn't have much of an experience for it. So what is your task is observe as much as you can when he's trying to communicate with his team, what kind of body language is that the one he is using. So what's going to happen, we'll play the video for you, observe as much as you can, and once the video is done, we'll discuss in detail about the body language of this new manager. So watch carefully.
Agenda. I have an agenda, which is that I have to immediately increase the ad pages here by 20%.
20%? Carter, only a startup magazine can do that.
Yeah, well, I think this team can do it, Dan. How?
Well, Morty, basically what we have to do.
That's an awesome question. How? And the answer is synergy. We need to team up here. Yeah, we need to synchronize and we need to synergize. We're not alone. We're not alone. We're part of one of the biggest multimedia and brand name companies in the known universe, okay? Let's take advantage of that. Like Crispity Crunch. Did anyone know that one of our sister companies is Crispity Crunch? So we talk to our brothers and sisters over at Crispity Crunch and make a deal where we supply sports factoids to their boxes. So that when Joe Couch Potato was sitting there, he's snacking, he looks down, and what does he say? Sports America, Crispity Crunch, sports factoids. He's definitely buying more Crispity Crunch and not Crunch and Crackle, which, by the way, looks and tastes exactly the same, but guess what? no sports factoids. And Crispity Crunch is so happy that they guarantee us 28 pages a year, besides which they know if they don't, Teddy K is going to be pissed. What is that? What am I talking about here, people? Synergy.
Isn't that cheating?
No. Hell no. And TechLine cell phones. We own TechLine cell phones. Guess what we put on their browser?
Factoids.
Yes! Factoids, Synergy, and what else? Box scores and ads. We make a deal where like 100,000 hits on the internet has the equivalent value of one ad page of our hard copy. Are you getting it, people? The magazine has become just a portal to a synergized world of cross promotion. We're gonna bust things wide open here. We are gonna take things to the next level. Who's with me? Who's with me? Who's psyched? Louis, are you psyched?
Yeah, I'm psyched.
Okay. Alicia, are you psyched?
Absolutely.
Better? This guy? I'm sorry, I don't know your name yet.
Hector, I'm in maintenance.
That's cool. Hector, I know you're psyched.
I'm psyched!
Yes, Hector's psyched. And if Hector's psyched, then you know I'm psyched. I am psyched for this team.
Yes. So what I could actually see, responses have started coming already in the chat, which is good. So yeah, what I would suggest is, as much as you have observed, because there was a lot happening in the video, try to put in the charts. Then we'll start the analysis. Because for what I have got in the charts is, someone is trying to convince. Yes, he's trying to convince. Confused at the start, confident, great. He's trying to boost his team. What else? Now, do you know there is something called as reactions that we have? Yes, very good. So what I would suggest is, I'll ask one or two questions. Just give me a reaction if the answer is yes. Okay. So was he someone right at the start convinced with the idea, or was he able to believe in what he was saying right at the start? No. Great. Was he looking confident? I think the answer has somewhere come at the start. Great. He wasn't. So okay, now put out your chat, the responses that you want to put, what all you've observed, and then we'll start the analysis. Yes, anxious at start. What else? So what did we observe is here, at the start, as you all have said, he was not very confident, because as I said in the start of the video, what was happening is, he's a relatively young guy who doesn't have an experience, but as you could see his team, they were much more in terms of his experience. So convincing the team over an idea which he himself wasn't sure of, that's what we see in his body language. So right at the start, he's not very confident, not very sure of how the conversation would be proceeding. How do we know that from his body language? Observe the different signals which we have put in terms of these 4 images. So the first one is something which is called as a blocking behavior. So when I'm not very comfortable, my body language reveals. How? In his case, it started by creating a block between me and the audience. Then, which was also getting reflected to by having a drink. So when we experience something which we are not very comfortable with, we try to do things which makes us feel better, which in his case was drinking. Slowly and gradually, we see that the confidence is starting to build up. So, but in these cases, he's still trying to get into the conversation. What are the signals that he's giving? Here he's trying to show that he's coming down at confidence, but still slightly, he's not looking very confident. How do we know that? He's using a very powerful hand gesture, which is called as steeple. But the way he's using it in this particular video or at this particular moment goes otherwise. Meaning, even if he's using a very powerful hand gesture, it's not going with what he's trying to convey. Slowly and gradually, as the video proceeds, what we find is a very confident person. How? There are changes in his body language. So when he's trying to communicate, as you all have said, he actually used energy. Now, how did he show that he was passionate and energetic, as all the terms that he used, is because he starts speaking without any hesitation. He's actually starting to build on to what he started with the conversation. Now, what we observe is, as someone of someone has mentioned, even in the chat, is he's trying to show that he's very passionate. How? He actually runs and grabs the product that he's holding in the image too. Now, even if he would have said in the way he was speaking, people would have agreed to him. But to enhance the believability, what he did was he actually brought a prop with him, trying to create a better impact on his audience on what he was trying to tell them about his idea, which very well went with the audience, in his particular terms, his team. Now, just by walking, we can show that we are very passionate about what we are trying to speak. If you wish to know more, we have a post for the same as well, called as First Impression. We also see that he is trying to show his confident self. How? Through his body language. If you observe the image 3, a lot of you have mentioned that he is talking of synergy. Now, if you would have just spoken of synergy, he's creating an additional impact by doing a gesture that he's doing right here in this image. Now, what's happening, whenever people will think of him as a manager, they would actually end up agreeing to what he's saying. Why? Because as a manager, he needs to show that he's the one who is in command and he actually believes in what he's saying. Because then only people will do what he is trying to tell them. Then we also see that he's very passionate. There are a lot of signals that he does to indicate that. We have just grasped a bit of it, because if he would have spoken everything in detail, the time would have gone way too much. So yeah, we see him talking in a very passionate term to his team at a level where they actually end up agreeing. So when he actually is saying, are you signed up to the first individual? The individual doesn't seem that convinced, but he is very confident. So he moves the second to the third. So by the third person, he's very sure that the team is with him. So as a manager, when we talk of the significance of body language, that's how we tweak body language when we are giving a specific message to our team. In his particular case, which he ended up to the point which everyone agreed to him. So that was all about the case study. Now what's going to happen is very interesting quiz, which again Nafisa would be taking, and there are prizes as well for it. So wait for the quiz. We'll play the video once again. Once again, Nafisa. We'll play the video once again for you all, just to show you what all did we discuss in the previous slide, because it could so happen you may have not seen what exactly we were talking. So try and see at what points his body language, when you're saying it was positive energy or synergy, how that was coming across. So let's see the video once again.
Agenda, I have, which is that I have to immediately increase the ad pages here by 20%.
20%? Carter, only a startup magazine can do that.
Yeah, well, I think this team can do it now. How?
Well, Morty, basically, local
That's an awesome question. How? And the answer, synergy. We need to team up here. Yeah, we need to synchronize and we need to synergize. We're not alone. We're not alone. We're part of one of the biggest multimedia and brand name companies in the known universe. Okay, let's take advantage of that. Like Crispity Crunch. Did anyone know that one of our sister companies is Crispity Crunch? So we talked to our brothers and sisters over at Crispity Crunch and make a deal where we supply sports factoids to their boxes. So that when Joe Couch Potato was sitting there, he's snacking, he looks down, and what does he say? Sports America, Crispity Crunch, sports factoids. He's definitely buying more Crispity Crunch and not Crunch and Crackle, which, by the way, looks and tastes exactly the same, but guess what? No sports factoids. And Crispity Crunch is so happy that they guarantee us 28 pages a year, besides which they know if they don't, Teddy K is going to be pissed. What is that? What am I talking about here, people? Synergy.
Isn't that cheating?
No, hell no. And TechLine cell phones. We own TechLine cell phones. Guess what we put on their browser?
Factoids.
Yes. factoids, synergy, and what else? Box scores and ads. We make a deal where like 100,000 hits on the internet has the equivalent value of one ad page of our hard copy. Are you getting it, people? The magazine has become just a portal to a synergized world of cross promotion. We're gonna bust things wide open here. We are gonna take things to the next level. Who's with me? Who's with me? Who's psyched? Louis, are you psyched?
Yeah, I'm psyched.
Okay. Alicia, are you psyched?
Absolutely.
Better? This guy? I'm sorry, I don't know your name yet.
Hector, I'm in maintenance.
That's cool. Hector. Hector, I know you're psyched.
I'm psyched!
Yes, Hector's psyched. And if Hector's psyched, then you know I'm psyched. I am psyched for this team.
Yeah. So one of you have mentioned what's the original source. It's a simple, when we talk of videos, we use a lot of references and this is one of them. Yes, Nafisa, would you like to take over?
Yes, sure. So hello everyone, welcome back. Time for a new quiz. In the panel discussion, we obviously heard that active listening, it is very important for any person, any working professional, mostly for people who are into managerial roles or stepping into managerial roles, correct? So this is what we are going to do now, test your listening skills. I'll be dropping a Google form, link of the Google form in the chat. And once I do that, people, you have to fill the Google form, choose the answer very wisely. Once done that, we'll announce 5 winners who have submitted their form very quickly and also who have given the right answers. Okay, I am now putting the form. So the form has been put. All the very best. Once you fill it, please type done, or maybe you can type anything to just let us know that you have done and we can move ahead. All the best, guys. Five forms, very fast. Let's see who are the ones. I am also excited. Till then, if any of you have any questions related to anything, you can of course drop your inquiries and then we can get back to you at the same time or later. So we are going to have 3 winners and I guess now we should stop this and take it ahead. So participants, welcome again, and we'll be announcing the 3 winners maybe in a minute or 2 once even I get the list of the winners. Before that, now people, because you have been amazing participants and of course everyone could not be winners, so we have a little surprise for you. Yes, it is here in front of you. We have 50% off on our course just for you. So this is only for the attendees, exclusive. You can write down the code, which is SBT 2021. And if you wish, you can purchase the course. And if you have any questions before purchasing, you can get back to us. Now let me announce the name of the winners, which I already have in my hand. First one is Brinda, because yes, you were finished sometimes back, and congratulations. Second, Manohar, and third, Tanvi. Congratulations to 3 participants, and you will be getting access to the course real soon. And other participants who would want to enroll for this course, the coupon code is right in front of you. Go ahead and enjoy. So anybody has any questions regarding the course or anything else? See, this is the right chance, right? Ma'am, first quiz winner, when should we start the course and how? So we will be emailing you the details most probably of the course, and then you can log in and start using the course, Neha.
I just one input to give here. On our website, the method by which the payment is accepted, that's PayPal, because this is an international website. If, however, you wish to pay by any other method, by the way, in PayPal, you can pay using credit card, debit card, etc. If you wish to pay by any other method, you can just get in touch with us. Aaron's number is there on the screen. Our landline number is also there, and we will help you out in the registration process.
So thank you everyone for being a part and participating. It was so much fun. Aaron, up to you now.
Okay, sadly we've reached the end of our event, but don't worry, there's many more being planned and many more coming up. In the meantime, you can always follow us on our social media handles on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook to keep up to date with all our activities. We post there regularly. And as our founder and CEO said, my number is on the screen. You can get in touch if you have any doubts or any queries, or if you want to know more about a company. You can also write emails to contact@simplybodytalk.com. And to the winners, we will shortly be in touch with you regarding the information of the prizes you just won. Also, if you want to check out our new course, we've put the link again in the chat so you don't have to scroll all the way up for it. It's an amazing course, and we're going to be making more for you. Anyway, you have been a fantastic audience, and we thank you so much for joining us for this event.